All right, Dave. So yesterday it was, I think, you posted a new video on the main channel
Right?
talking about middleweights.
Middleweights are all the rage.
It got me thinking about middleweights a little bit.
It's lovely to see middleweights get the attention that I think they've deserved all along.
Well, I got to call you out first
Okay.
because you tell everybody how middleweights are the best things ever, yet your track bike is an Aprilia RSV4 1100. Your street bike is a Multistrada Pikes Peak V4.
Wait. You're saying the guy who owns multiple flagship models is not allowed to appreciate the middleweight?
I'm just saying, I feel like you're kind of...
A little bit of hypocrisy going on here. I think it's an incredibly valid point, right? We get sold all the time that the flagship is what we should all be looking at. And yet, me, the guy who owns multiple flagships, I still think my favorite motorcycles are middleweights.
So I think it's worth discussing and maybe bring up kind of there's almost like an existential piece to this.
Oh, I think it's hugely existential. I think this is one of the most interesting elements of motorcycles, right?
So let me frame this a little bit. So we get questions on the podcast and comments a lot. Where is the industry going, and what's coming next? What's your guys' opinions on things? And we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's coming next, but we have been around for a very long time. So maybe we have seen cycles come and go enough times and just can kind of see what's changing and what's not.
Right.
And I think that actually plays into this whole middleweight discussion a little bit. So let's kind of dive into this a little and talk through a little what's going on in the industry and why we think that maybe affects the bike that you buy next.
So I'm a history nerd, so we should probably go with a little bit of history. And I'm just going to give you, I have been active in the motorcycle world since the late 80s. But that's when I was in high school, so don't be too harsh on my age. But at that point in time, a 1,000cc motorcycle, the CBR 1000 RR Hurricane, or the horsepower wars of the ZX10, those motorcycles were making like 130 horsepower.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so a middleweight, like the Hawk GT, which made an incredible 39 horsepower, was considered a middleweight, right? And now we live in an era, right, that it's easy. The RSV4 or the Panigale Wally, they're 200 plus horsepower motorcycles, and these middleweights are over 100 horsepower. Yeah. A lot of them. They have more horsepower than the 1,000cc bikes of my youth.
So where I think this comes to the existential part is we're seeing, and this isn't us making this up, this isn't us just being old men, but we're seeing the age of riders every year goes up almost a whole year. It's about 3/4 of a year, I think, on average every year, the average age.
Right, because I think I want to say it's 45 to 47 right now is the median age of motorcycle riders.
Which is kind of a terrifying statistic because it basically means that youth and younger people are just not opting into this sport, not opting into this hobby.
Right. I did a whole video on this, right? They performed pretty well. It was picked up by a couple other motorcycle entities to talk about some of my theories about that. You should go watch it. But yeah, the motorcycling demographic in America is aging, while for the rest of the world, it's doing great.
Yeah. But I think the first question people have is why. And again, the old man answer is like, oh, these dang kids, they just don't know what fun is. And they don't, they're not playing along. They're not getting into the sport like I did. But I think genuinely a lot of times it doesn't feel like it's even an option for a lot of them at this point.
I feel an incredible amount of empathy for kids today. Like a lot of the demographic of the people who would be buying motorcycles now, when I was that, they came out of college right into the 2008 recession, with a lot of student loan debt. I was lucky enough to get through university. You probably did too, with GI Bill and some grants. So I didn't come out with a lot of college debt. Don't judge me for this, I used the few college loans that I did get to buy a motorcycle. And then I worked a swing shift to kind of subsidize. So I didn't come out of, so like a lot of the kids today, their financial situation is wildly different than what you or I experienced. So I give a lot of credit to any younger rider right now who is making the sacrifice. If you're into motorcycles now, you've earned it.
You're into motorcycles.
Yeah,
you have to be.
Yeah, it's you've sacrificed things. You're probably eating ramen at some point, or have eaten ramen to own your motorcycle, and that deserves credit.
And I guess that's maybe the point where we're going to with this middleweight thing is these flagship models, these halo products, basically the Panigale S, the Pikes Peak, all these top tier echelon bikes. They're really there to put in the magazines and put in the advertisements and get people into the door of the dealership. But the reality is, do I need to go buy a Pikes Peak to go have fun?
Absolutely not.
Right?
This is a great example, and we put it here behind you today for a reason, because this is a $30,000 motorcycle, right? The one it replaced was 15 years old, and it was a $15,000 motorcycle. Is this twice as good as the one that it replaced?
Well, I think that's probably the part where it gets interesting. Because if I say, is it twice as good? Does it make almost twice as much power?
No.
It's not far off though, isn't it?
No, I think the one it replaced made 150 claimed. This makes like 180 claimed. So I got 30 horsepower.
Well,
I think gained 20 pounds.
The more interesting thing is, like, I think the good part is probably the tricky part of this.
Yeah.
I think, is this more fun? Is this twice as fun as the old one you had?
Yeah, it's definitely more fun. But is it $15,000 more fun? Is it twice as fun? Absolutely not.
Right.
No. This one's a little tricky because it's like ethanol-free gas, right? We're going to take something out of a product, so it ruins everything, and then we're going to make you pay more to get the thing back, right? To me, what made the Multistrada was that it was a supermoto touring bike.
Yeah.
Right? It was half dirt bike and it was half tour bike. And I thought it was the perfect balance because it was super sporty, 17-inch wheels, big giant brakes.
Yeah.
It was what made the Multistrada a Multistrada. And then Ducati decided that they're going to go chase that sweet GS market share, right? And so everything went to 19-inch front wheels and 21-inch front wheels. And to me, that wasn't a Multistrada.
Right.
And then they come back. It's like, all right, we're going to give you the 17-inch front wheel, but you're going to have to spend $30,000 to get that 17-inch front wheel.
Only on the top shelf model.
Only on the top shelf model.
Yeah.
And, I would not have paid retail for this. I got a killer deal. This was used. I didn't buy it new, but it's a classic example of, making you pay more for something that used to come standard.
But I think that's is it twice as much fun? And I think patently no.
No.
Right? I don't think there's a single S version or R version or factory version of anything that is legitimately twice as much fun as the base model.
And in most cases, I think we were talking about this recently. Oh, we were talking about this with Fuzzy, or maybe I talked to Fuzzy about this, that people who go out and they buy the Panigale, they want to get into racing or they want to do track days or whatever like that. And they're like, should I go buy the S or the R or the RS or the SP or whatever the hell? And he and I were in complete agreement over no, go buy the base one. The base model, you get 99% of what actually matters.
Right.
You're not getting the mechatronic suspension. You may not be getting the adaptive cruise control and all this stuff that you really actually never really use that much. But you can tune the suspension for a far better price than what you're going to pay for mechatronics. And yeah, get the base. Even my last one, which was an S, the only reason why I got an S is because I got a deal on it. Otherwise, I would have got the base.
Yeah.
A lot of these features are just sparkly bits.
So you bought this primarily because you want the V4 engine and you wanted the 17-inch wheels.
Correct. Yep.
Had they put that on a base model, you'd have bought the base model.
100% I would have got the base model.
But if I'm 20-something and I think, man, the stuff he does on that Pikes Peak looks pretty cool. I don't have 30 grand. I guess I just don't get to play.
That's silly.
Right?
Yeah.
So what should that person start thinking about, or how should they kind of steer their selection a little bit?
The experience you're looking for. When I worked in sales, you worked in sales. And I was very successful working in sales because if somebody walked in the door, I wasn't trying to push them into, I remember me walking into shops when I was younger and I knew what I wanted. And the shop's like, no, you don't want that. You want this.
Right.
And they told me I wanted that because they had 10 of them and they only had one of the one I wanted. And so the sales thing was, I never played that game. if somebody walked in the door, the first question I would ask them is, what experience are you looking to have? Right? If you want to do kind of like the sport touring, kind of like comfortable, sporty day rides, okay, if that's the experience you look for, we're going to look at things with two bars, right? We're not going to be looking at super bikes. If you want to go around corners, we're not going to be looking at cruisers, right? If you want to trundle and cruise, then absolutely we're going to it all depends on what experience you're looking at. And then you look at like what your actual needs are. If this style motorcycle, since we're talking about the Multistrada right behind you, there's a million other things that are just as good for a lot less. We can talk about the Kawasaki Versys. Suzuki just came out with their version of this. They're calling them tall rounders now. A 17-inch front wheel, long travel suspension, kind of supermoto touring bike. Suzuki's looks fantastic. I haven't ridden it. It looks amazing. You can get the Africa Twin with it's not a 17-inch front wheel, but it's a 19-inch front wheel. That's pretty close. Yep. There's even the 950 Multistrada if you really want to stay in the Ducati family. Triumph has a handful of them. There's a stack of these things now, and you don't have to go buy a $30,000 motorcycle to get the experience you're looking for. These get you through the door, right? You might see this on a poster or see this in a YouTube video and be like, oh my gosh, that's sick. You're seeing, Ben Bostrom or whoever doing wheelies on a racetrack on that thing. Like, that's sick. I want that. And it is sick. Like that's how we got into the door. But then you walk into the door and like reality kind of hits, and you would have just as much fun on a 950 Multistrada as you would on a Pikes Peak.
And I think that's where maybe the middleweight thing starts to really resonate and make a lot more sense than a lot of these open class bikes. Is it gives you the performance that a couple decades ago literally was the top end performance, if not better still, right? Because now even though the horsepower is similar or close enough, these middleweights come with phenomenal suspension and brakes, electronics packages, like all of the bells and whistles that weren't even an option years ago.
Right. They may not be the suspension and brakes that are on the $30,000 version, but they're a far cry better than the equivalent of what was on the super bikes of 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Just even the basic stuff is better
even
now.
the basic stuff, right? And you're still looking like over 100 horsepower. It was 2000, like 2000 or 2000. No, I think it was 2000. The first time I bought a motorcycle with over 100 horsepower, and I was afraid.
Yeah.
100 horsepower? Am I ready for this? Yeah. And and now like a middleweight, like these, you should start on something more reasonable. Get an MT-09 or a Hornet 750. They're over 100 horsepower.
Yeah. But I think it's great that these middleweights make so much more sense now. I'm wondering if we're going to get to the point where these open class bikes, we start to see because it's felt like the CC, the engine size, has just kind of like incrementally, what's this, 11?
This one's an 11, and the reason why they keep jumping in size is for EPA and regulation stuff.
It's to keep making 200 horsepower and pass emissions. Yeah, that's right. Right.
Yeah.
But I think I'm hoping that we just start seeing people like, I don't need to buy that. I'm just going to buy the 900.
Yeah,
and be fine. And maybe we just start seeing the emphasis from the manufacturers shift to that middleweight. It's like, hey, that's actually where the market is now. Let's just make those the best product we can. Maybe those become the halo products in the future.
It's no accident that you're seeing me create more middleweight content on the main channel. All the demographics and numbers show that's what people are buying and that's what people are interested in. Yeah. And to me, I think this is like such a breath of fresh air that, you out there, listening or watching, I think it's awesome that middleweights are what's catching people's attention right now.
So I'm curious. I love the comments that we get on all our videos.
Oh, we get
I love
the best comments.
Yeah.
We got a couple funny ones that didn't.
Some of them are really good.
Some of them were really mean. I don't know. Like we got two really mean ones this week.
But I'd love to hear what bike you're on right now and what bike if you had to replace it, what would you go replace it with?
So we should talk about this because this is the perfect segue.
Oh, okay.
I call this the Steamroller Supposition. This is Dave's theory on motorcycles. Is that I'm going to quote Spock, so I'm going to bring back some of my nerdiness, is that sometimes it's more enjoyable to want a thing than to have a thing. So I always subscribe to the Steamroller Supposition. And that means you always have this theory in the back of your mind. If my motorcycle got run over by a steamroller tomorrow, I'm uninjured.
It's gone.
But I get the money.
Yep.
Right? But I can't replace it because they don't make it anymore. What am I going to go get? What do I replace my motorcycle with? If mine today gets run over by a steamroller, what do I go get next?
Well, and it's interesting too, because it's entirely possible that your tastes have changed or your interests in motorcycling. Like you mentioned the experience you want. Maybe when you bought this was the experience you wanted, but now you've shifted a little. Maybe you're into something a little more off-road or whatever it is. Anyway, I'd love to hear, what do you have right now? And if you had to, if you got hit by a steamroller, what would you go get next?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite arguments to have, is like,
I'm curious if we hear from a lot of folks that I'm on a middleweight and I would go get the next bigger one, or if I'm on a middleweight, would I get another middleweight?
Or if you're on a big one and you go get a middleweight.
Yeah.
That's been a crazy series of comments we've seen on the main channel is, I've been doing more middleweight content, and so many comments from, I've been riding for 30 years. I'm in my 60s. I'm in my 50s. I went and got a middleweight, and I'm having more fun on motorcycles than I did since I was in my 20s.
Sometimes more is less, right? More bike is maybe actually not any more fun. Maybe it's actually less fun. And I have a personal story about this, right? So I had, if you remember, I had a KTM 690 SM.
Loved that motorcycle. The Spy versus Spy motorcycle.
Yeah,
Loved
not a
that
pretty bike, but I loved the bike.
It was fun to ride.
It was kind of their supermoto-ish.
I don't think you ever replaced a front tire on that bike, did you?
I loved that thing.
That front tire was in the air all the time.
Made, I don't know, 70 horsepower, maybe, probably not even.
It weighed less than 400 pounds.
But it was like 300 and something. It was light. It was tons of fun. I had that, and then I replaced it with a KTM 990 SMT, which was basically the V-twin.
It was the version of this.
It was the big version, but more, it was basically a multi-straw is really what it was. It was kind of a competitor to that. Longer suspension, but still 17s, proper brakes, all that. I never had as much fun on that bike. Now, that bike was fun because the motor was fun. A big thumping V-twin is just kind of rips and it just sounds cool.
Big engines are fun. And
it's fun, but at some point you go, 80 miles an hour is 80 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't much matter.
There's a fine line between fun and illegal.
Yeah.
And illegal and jail time.
Yeah. and it was fun, but I quickly realized the novelty of the engine wears off quick. And that's maybe the part that I learned from that bike was it is like, I think the torque never really gets totally old, but the excitement you get from it does get muted over time. It's like, yeah, of course it does that.
It's crazy. If you've never experienced this, it is, and if you have experienced, leave a comment again. It is crazy how quickly you adapt.
Oh yeah.
To big power. Like the first time you get on it, you're like, oh, good God.
Yep.
And then within a week, you're like, I'm going to pipe it. You know what I mean?
Wish I had more.
Wish I had more, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But I had that 690, rode it constantly all over the place. I got the 990, and I just found I wasn't going to the effort. Like the 690, I would wheel that thing out of the garage to run to the grocery store, and I'd bring a backpack. Like it was worth a pain in the ass of a backpack at a grocery store just to go for a quick rip on the bike. And on the 990, I was like, I'll just take the car. Like it was great for a bigger trip, but I was like, it's not like it didn't get me as excited as the 690 did. And that was the first time I was like, oh, maybe more isn't actually more all the time.
You bring up something really awesome there that I don't think I've really thought about in a long time. To take this thing out is kind of an event.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to take this to the grocery store.
No, of course you're not.
Like, it's a nightmare. It's like, it's big, it's heavy, it's like insane amounts of power. It's a little unwieldy. Like,
well, and
its element, it's joyful, but
it's also a $30,000 bike. You probably don't want to just leave it in any old parking lot.
I don't want to leave it in the Smith's parking lot next to the shopping
Someone's
cart
going to back into it.
Yeah. However, Mrs. CanyonChasers motorcycle, and she refuses to get rid of it. It was featured in a recent video because it never gets any screen time.
The Hyper?
The Hyper Motard 821 or 851 or whatever it is. That thing, every time I hop on it, it's a riot. It's probably like your little SM, your little.
Oh yeah.
It's 150 20 horsepower, maybe.
Tons.
It's
20.
It's upright.
It's a
the way
twin,
you
isn't
sit
it?
on the thing, you don't even see the speedometer. You feel like you're flying. There is nothing.
Yeah.
The chin on your helmet blocks all the gauges. You have to look straight down to read anything on it. But it's light. It's relatively affordable. It wheelies everywhere. And it's not ungodly fast. It's, and every time, again, like I'm in a very, very lucky situation where motorcycles show up on the doorstep, right? And I think my neighbors think I have a bad addiction, and I probably do. But they just show up, and she gets to ride everything, and she's like, I just want to get back on my hyper, right? Like she spent a lot of time, for example, on that NT 1100 that we had last year. We rode that thing over Beartooth Pass and whatever. It's a bike that she was looking at seriously, and she's like, no, I think I like my little bike.
Yeah. Well, and it's fun, the way you're describing it kind of reminds me of the I'm sure there's a clever name for it, but the idea that the fastest car in the world is a rental car.
Right?
Yeah. It's the one you're like, I don't much care. I don't much care what happens to this thing. If you go buy the $30,000 bike, ooh man, a scratch, a little tip over, that's a big deal. I don't want that to happen. So it becomes this pedestal item that you only want to take it off the pedestal for special occasions. Whereas the 690, my SM, I don't recall. I don't think I ever had a crash on it, but I also was not scared if like something happened in a parking lot. Like it was not a big deal. I wasn't scared of the bike, and I wasn't scared of damaging the bike because it practically felt like a big dirt bike, really. But that sort of freedom of not overspending, of it being a thing that I could replace if I had to, I guess, freed me up to not be so worried about it all the time.
I love that because I had a motorcycle. It's the only motorcycle, ironically, that I regret selling. Yet when I sold it, it was a little bit freeing. It was a 900 Super Sport that had a big bore kit.
One.
Yeah, the yellow one. You rode it. You loved that.
It.
That bike was fantastic. It had like flat slides and a big bore kit and this custom carbon fiber titanium exhaust made. There was a dude who lived here in Salt Lake City who worked for HRC's race division, and he would hand weld pipes for people if you paid him. And it had this like handmade titanium thing made by this old dude from HRC.
I didn't know this whole story about
it
yeah.
was, I don't know where the dude is now, but like that's where the pipe, that thing was, but I was afraid of it, right? Because it was so special.
You couldn't replace it if you had to.
Right. Like I would take it out to the track day and, I would only do 1 or 2 sessions because I'm like, it's a little bit irreplaceable.
Yeah.
It would be, like it's just a super sport. Like all the parts are readily available at some level. But yeah, it was less fun because it'd be like if you had like a Vincent Black Shadow, or if you had a Britain sitting in your garage, or if you had like a Desmo CD cheat.
It's almost a curse a little bit.
It's a little bit of a curse.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to enjoy it because it was so special. And then you just become one of those dudes who puts a motorcycle in their living room, on their wall, and it just sits there and rots. And you're like, that's no life for a motorcycle.
Well, and like if it's a bike that's like an art piece, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Go for it. But I think it's a really good point. I don't think this was ever actually where we were going with this conversation, but this is where we wound up. And we see this at the racetrack. So on the racetrack, I promise you, the person who comes out with the third hand CBR or R6 or whatever it is that they bought for fairly cheap to go try out track days, that dude is having so much more fun and so much less stress than the dude who rolled out with his brand new Panigale S.
Yeah.
Right? Because that guy's like, this thing's got payments still.
Right. Yeah.
I can't crash this thing.
Yeah. His yearly insurance bill is probably more than what the kid paid for his CBR 600RR.
So I don't know what our point was of this story exactly, but maybe it's just go buy the cheap, small, easy to replace.
I think the point is because like there's the other side of it too. Like with track days, we see kids who go out and they go buy like a shit box and they're like, so I can wad it up and throw it down the track. No, don't do that.
Yeah, that's probably too far. Yeah,
like the middle ground, and we can announce this. This is exciting. We're getting an Aprilia dealership, but the middle ground is the RS660 or the Tuono 660 factory, right? That's an incredible. Your wife has an RS660. It's an incredibly affordable motorcycle. It's incredibly capable, but it's not so expensive that it can't be fun.
Yeah,
and so I think the point we're trying to make here, and like even owning super expensive flagship motorcycles, is there's something really joyful about the middleweight.
Yeah.
You know, like I campaigned in 848 forever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I had no desire to go to a 1098 or 1190. I love the middleweights. Gixxer 750s, to me, is the best Gixxer.
Yeah.
Right? Even in the Aprilia line, I love my V4, but I'm just a V4 nerd. I think the 660 might be the best Aprilia. That motor is a peach.
Yeah, I am still a pretty big fan of smaller bikes. Like with the track, I've got the RSV4 now as well, but I have raced all kinds of different bikes, but mostly middleweights, and I have way more fun on them. They're way less physical. Like they're a little easier to replace. I agree with you. I think the middleweights is still like, it is that Goldilocks.
It's hallowed ground.
Yeah, it's kind of that sweet spot. So
the only reason, and I'll bet you'll agree with me, the only reason why I have an RSV4 on the track is because we have one of the fastest tracks in North America, is our backyard. And if we were on a slower, tighter technical track, there's no way I would have an RSV4.
Well, and we're at 4,500 feet.
And we're at 4,500 feet.
Yeah, which people who...
15% less horsepower.
Yeah, people who aren't used to it, it does knock a lot of power out of the top end. Yeah.
No, you said it was 18%. Didn't you do the math?
It's 17 if we're going to get really picky, but yeah, it's 17.
Ask the engineer how much horsepower we lose.
Yeah, it's a significant number though. But yeah, it does take a lot of power out, but it makes... So I'll tell you a little anecdotal story. And actually this will segue us over to the next part here. I years ago raced a Yamaha R6, and the one that I was racing had a built engine. It was basically a superbike engine. It got built, and in the off season, the guy who helped me build it, Corey helped me build it, basically was like, hey, we're going to go down to Chuckwalla in the winter because they run a winter series. They run kind of off season from everybody else because of the desert in California. And we went down to Chuckwalla, and I remember riding it, and I was terrified of an R6. We actually had to change the gearing because I could not stop wheeling everywhere at sea level. I'd never experienced that on a 600 in my life until we got to sea level, and I was like, oh, people have to ride these like thousands down here.
Yeah.
But down there, I was like, 1,000 seems insane at this track.
Yeah.
What would I even do with it?
No, I had my RSV4 down at like a lower elevation track. I couldn't wait to get on a KTM 390.
Yeah.
It was unwieldy. The front wheel, like even with wheelie control, up here, I basically have wheelie control turned off.
Yeah, mine's turned off. Yeah.
At lower elevation, I had it on the most aggressive setting, and the front wheel was still coming up everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you would come off a little lip, and the front wheel would just stay in the. And you're like,
yeah. Yeah, so anyway, if you're used to sea level, we are not. So.
Yeah, so like you're like
for us.
we talk a big game, riding our big horsepower motorcycles that are actually probably more like a middleweight at sea level.
Yeah, exactly. But should we segue over to the tracks?
Yeah, let's definitely segue.
All right.
Yeah.
So another topic that's come up, and this has been coming up more in the last 2 years or so, is this not weird, I guess it's just normal now, this issue with racetracks and racetrack ownership. So if you're not aware, COTA has announced that this year is the last year that COTA in Austin, Texas, is even available for organizations to rent track time from.
Yes, if you want to ride COTA,
you got to go this year.
Yeah, Jake at Spite's Corner, he texted me, he's like, Dave, if you want to ride COTA, this is your last chance.
Yeah, which is truly a shame.
Yeah.
That facility is, I could gush about that facility for a while because I've
never been there. You've been there twice, haven't you?
I got to go watch the MotoGP race there a few years ago. And then my wife and I actually snuck on track. I can say this now. I'm pretty sure they're not going to come after me. They're not.
Yeah, I think the
we
statute of limitations is like
in like running shoes and basically ran a lap after like a few hours after the GP ended.
How cool is that?
And I wanted, because I was desperate to get on track because I really wanted to see that coming up the hill to turn one and then the whole anyway, amazing, wonderful experience, unbelievable facility. That is now going to become a private members only track event or a track period. So only members can ride there. So and the unfortunate thing with these members only places is I'm thrilled that some millionaires have a cool little place to go ride their bikes and cars and in peace. I'm being facetious, of course, with the thrilled part. I'm happy that it is creating some jobs for people who get to work on those vehicles and prep those cars.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it is helping some regular folks get to do a job that's cool. But what I hate about it is that now has become sort of the method with which tracks can actually stay open.
Right.
Is by going to private memberships.
Right.
And there's a lot more of these coming up. Willow Springs, I believe, is going private or has already gone private. I don't know if they're still doing some events, but it's private ownership now and private, member stuff. CVMA is actually for sale.
Right.
Which surprised me, but it's for sale for like $26 million or some crazy number.
That'd be a bargain at twice the price.
It's a ribbon of asphalt. There's some like little huts and stuff, but it's in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But regardless, it's now for sale. So who knows what's going to happen to that facility. But we're seeing a lot of tracks shut down, like Pit Race, the Pittsburgh one.
Right. That's going to go away forever.
That was a Moto America event. Was
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. And it was a, cool facility. That has been sold and is not even going to be a racetrack anymore.
And our local racetrack just barely sold.
And where ours is, I don't know yet. I haven't had a chance to meet with the new owners yet.
We're hoping.
I've got high hopes still.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We're hoping to have the new owners on the podcast, or someone associated with the new owners on the podcast. It sounds positive, but it's been scary knowing that the track's been for sale for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like the person who built our racetrack was a multimillionaire. He was a Ford guy. He owned one of the Fords that won Le Mans. I think he owned two of them.
And if you're not familiar, if you're not from the Utah area, his name is Larry H. Miller. He's since passed about.
And as soon as he
ago.
passed, his kids had no interest in the track, and it sold.
Yep.
And then it went through they wanted to turn it into a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because one guy wanted to buy it, and he wanted the underlying infrastructure, and he wanted to use I'm not making this up. He wanted to use the track as the neighborhood street, so he didn't have to pave the neighborhood, and he was going to build houses, like nice houses, And so we dodged that bullet, and then when it went for sale again, we're like, oh no. And is it going to become private club for members?
Right.
At least not in the immediate.
Yeah.
We hope not. But anyway,
share
what you know.
It's kind of a scary time for racetracks, but it probably speaks to a bigger problem of this sort of this gap in the country, and then not politically, but just the gap in the country of haves and have-nots.
It's not just us. It's not just America. This is national. This is worldwide. Yeah.
This is happening in other places too. I think I'm feeling it here though, right? Is we're getting more and more of this upper 0.001% class, which is taking more and more of the money out of the pool of money that the rest of us all have to split now.
Right.
And you basically now have more and more middle class and under who I
think the middle class is dying. And I think that's what we're seeing in the motorcycle discussion we were just having is it's, you go to India and whatever, and it's the motorcycles are the lower class's way to get around. They're not recreational. And then you get into a demographic where the motorcycle becomes recreational. Mm-hmm. And now we're kind of the far side of that, where the motorcycle, which is it should have been affordable, is now a toy for the ultra wealthy.
It's getting to be that way, right?
And tracks especially.
Tracks even more so. And so, I'm a little bit worried about what's the trend anyway of what's happening here. I'm hoping that we see some kind of reversal, but this isn't just in racetracks. We're seeing that youth sports is this way, and all kinds of activities are this way, where it's become prohibitively expensive for normal folks to actually get to go and enjoy and participate and do these things.
Yeah, we're having to really zero in on what hobbies you're going to choose to participate in.
These hobbies can be done more affordably.
Yes.
I think that's probably the takeaway here is if you're on the fence and you're like, boy, I sure would like to go try a track day sometime, go try it. There are lots of track organizations. So Apex Track Days, who we work with.
Yeah, we should do an open invitation. And I do a newsletter. I don't do them as regularly as I should. You can join up for the newsletter. And in my newsletter, I try to do them every month, but it's usually every 3 to 4 months. I put the calendar in there of events that we are going to be at. Open invitation to come join us. Apex Track Days, it's a world-class facility.
Yep.
The owner of Apex Track Days, Dave, who's a very close friend of ours, he has a whole. He literally has. It's basically, I don't even know how to describe it. It's this big giant trailer full of leathers available to people, and boots and gloves, and like if you don't own a full piece leather suit, you can rent/borrow.
Rent for free.
Yeah.
They're just there available for people to use. And if you're not here in Utah, if you're not even near Utah, other racetracks, other organizations do similar things. This is not a totally unique program. It's an amazing one, but it's not unique. Most of these organizations, if you reach out to them and say, hey, I'm really curious, I'd like to give this a shot. Nobody runs a track day organization because they're trying to get rich. They're doing it because they love what we do, and they'd love to have you participate and be part of it as well. So if this is something that's interesting to you, stop waiting and stop trying to go like, oh, I don't have the suit, I don't have this, and I don't have that. Reach out to the organization. They can probably help you out. The other thing with Apex, and I think other groups do this too, the first track day of the year, and I think the last one.
No, he switched it now to any track day of the year. If it's your first time on a track ever, you get a special price.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like we're so eager to get new people in. And I think here's some of the confusing parts that need to be clarified. I can't believe we're talking about come do a track day. You should come do a track day.
Yeah.
There's confusion that track days and racing are the same thing. They are not the same thing. You don't need to, for a track day, you do not need to have your motorcycle safety wired. You don't need to do all the race prep stuff.
The point of this whole thing here is, if you don't want this to happen to your local track, if you don't want it to get bought by a group that's just going to turn into a private members only Billionaires plaything sometimes, go use it.
Yes.
Go to the track, try the track. There's schools that happen at the racetrack that every street rider should try to find a school that they can go to. You're going to be a better rider because of it. Or try a track day. I don't care if you don't have a sport bike.
We have cruisers show up.
We have Harleys that show up to the track day, and those guys are there every track day.
Yeah,
and they're having
with the
ball.
wide glide. He has a freaking Dyna wide glide that he comes and does track days with.
What's the guy? One of them has
Honda Shadow,
like ape hangers. Yeah. He's having a ball.
Yeah,
he's having a ball out there, and everybody loves him for it. Everybody loves him for it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to see this happen to your local track and you want this experience to be available to folks, you just got to come out and do it.
And the access is easier than you think it is. And the price, why it might feel a little steep initially, you got to think about, what does one speeding ticket cost? That costs more than one track day. So a track day is cheaper than a speeding ticket. And you will learn so much about.
Yeah.
Even if you just go out there and just turn laps, you're still going to learn a lot.
But yeah, I think that's my big takeaway is if we could just if everybody would just come out and do a track day a year or a couple a year, that changes the whole dynamic of this entire endeavor of making this available. And even if you're not like, oh, that's not my thing, I'm not that into it.
You might be.
I know
you
almost,
probably are.
Yeah, I can't. I know almost nobody who doesn't have fun on a track day. Everybody has fun on a track day.
We got a bunch of comments from Australian riders who, he said that a lot of the GATSO, which is like the police with their cameras, what they're doing is they're setting up cameras on the exits of fast corners. And so they're getting motorcyclists as they come out of the really good corners to give them tickets, which is crap. I'm sorry. That's not cool, man.
Seems mean.
It doesn't seem very Australian to me. But I guess my point of that was you can still get the joy. Like you get to ride the way you want to ride without we had a guy, I love this story. He's like, I'm not going to do a track day. They're going to get mad at me for going too fast. I'm like, bro,
I've never seen that.
You're with your people. Like, we all like going fast. Nobody's going to criticize you for being too fast. Being reckless, maybe, but he wasn't a reckless rider. That wasn't the concern. He was a very, very proficient rider, and he had spent his whole life controlling his rate of velocity to maintain the points on his license. And you're like, dude, come to the track. We're not going to yell at you for going too fast. You're with your people here. And I don't think he ever did a track day, unfortunately.
That's
but like, I never could talk him into it. But yeah, you're going to be with your people.
Yeah.
Let's talk MotoGP. When's our first race?
I think we've got about 3 and some change, 3 weeks or so.
That's what I thought. 3 weeks. Like it's the last week in February or the first week in March?
First week in March, I think.
First week in March. That's what I thought.
Yep.
Okay. And it's going to be Thailand, right?
Yeah, I think it's in Thailand, is round one. We did an episode a little bit ago talking about our 2026 predictions. I think it is now time. We've had enough time. We should talk a little bit about our rider market predictions for 27.
So this is going to be hard because there's where I think they're going to go. And then where
you want them to go?
Where do I want them to go?
Well, let's try to stick to where do you think they're going to go. Let's say
I don't think I can separate the two. I have to mention both.
All right. So let's say I'm going to hold
Let's go down the
to
list.
it.
Let's go down the list. Oh, you're going to hold me to it.
So we'll go through each team.
Okay.
All right. So let's just start at the top. Let's start with Factory Ducati.
All right.
Who's on those bikes in 2027?
In 2027, Marc Marquez is going to be on one and Acosta is going to be on the other.
I agree with you. The only thing that's really interesting about it is MotoGP had all the riders basically place who they think is going to be on each team.
Really?
Just a few days ago, maybe 3 or 4 days ago.
How fun is that?
Guess who Marc Marquez put on the Factory Ducati?
I'm dying to know.
It wasn't Marc Marquez.
What?
He put Alex Marquez and Pedro on the Factory Ducati in 2027.
Where did he put himself?
He didn't put himself anywhere.
Oh, that dude, he's playing the
He's
long
messing
game.
with Ducati now.
Totally. That guy is so strategic.
Imagine when that rolls out and Gigi's like, oh, God. Find more money.
Sign with Red Bull.
Yeah. I think ultimately you're right, though. I think it is going to be Marc Marquez and Pedro Acosta in 27. All right, so that's Factory Ducati. Let's go down to the next one down. So Gresini. So right now it is Alex Marquez and it is Fermin Aldeguer. Who is going to be on those bikes next year? Or in 27, I should say.
Aldeguer is the wild card. I don't. I admire and I respect everything that Peter Baum has to say.
Ooh, okay.
And Peter Baum does not have the highest opinion of Aldeguer. He was effectively saying, okay, yeah, he's a rookie. He has a lot of talent, but he was also on the best possible motorcycle in one of the best teams.
In probably the best team for a rookie with the arguably the best crew chief in Frankie Carcetti.
Yes, right. And Frankie is so good at bringing up talent.
So who's on that bike? Who's on those bikes next year in 27?
Oh, that's what do you, I don't think I haven't. I think Alex, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think Alex has a good seat to stay there. But what do you think? I don't know if I have an answer.
So I think
to this.
Aldeguer is going to stay. Because again, if Ducati is going to give him a little more runway, I think eventually Ducati wants him to be the person who replaces Marc Marquez when he retires.
I just think there's more talent than him out there.
Well, but I think they're giving him time to grow and prove
himself. One more year. Okay,
right?
2027. Okay, all right, yeah.
Alex, I think, is gone. I think he's going to leave. I think he is going to go to another team. I think he wants a factory seat. And I think he's earned it.
Legitimately, I think he's earned it. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
I think he did. Absolutely.
But who do they put on the other seat then if he's gone?
Who would you take? Who would you put up there? Who would you promote?
Well, if I'm Ducati, I'm going to try to pull somebody from Moto2.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right?
That would be the smart move because you're going to bring it. It's unfortunate for the likes of the Frenchman that I love. Zarco. Zarco's not worth investing in for an 800. He's old. It'd be too hard for him to adjust to an 800. Let him go dominate World Superbike, right? And you have to start bringing up Moto2 riders for the 800s. They're already used to Pirelli tires. They're already used to a smaller, lighter motorcycle. You got to be pulling in Moto2 riders.
So if I'm Ducati, top of my shopping list for Moto2 is Davide Alonso.
100%.
I think he's at the top of everyone's.
Yes.
Holgado.
Yes.
Is it very high up on the list?
It's a team that you always pay attention to, but you never pay attention to. If
I'm Ducati, if I'm trying to put people on the Gresini bike, Davide Alonso's at the top. Danny Holgado, Barry Baltas. You've got a handful of these guys who I think all fall in that little window of you can see the talent now, whether they've achieved what they can yet or not, but they're on that short list. But I think you try to go get a Davide Alonso if you can.
Yeah, well, and I think if you're on a Ducati, you have a good chance of getting Alonso. You do. Because, like, he's going to want, what is it that if you have the best bike, you have a better choice of riders because they want to win, especially coming out of Moto2, they want to, right? Ducati is in the best possible position to choose talent.
So let's say Grassini is going to be, I think Firmine's going to keep his seat.
That's interesting. I'm not sure, but we'll go with it. Like, I'll lean on that one.
I would put, if I could, I'd put Davide Alonso on that bike.
Yes, I would agree. That makes the most sense. Who else? Where else would he go?
It's the seat. If I'm Davide, it's the seat I want.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right. Third Ducati team, VR46. Who's on that thing next year? So
Now,
right now it's Di Gianantonio and it's Frankie Morbidelli.
DG keeps his seat. I think he's earned it. Morbidelli, I don't even know why he's still there. The question is, and this is the when you pose this question, who I think is going to end up there is, I think Pecco's going to end up on the VR46, but that's not where I hope Pecco ends up.
See, I don't think Pecco goes there.
You think Pecco's going to go to the Yamaha?
Can I be brutally honest for a second?
Be brutally honest.
I don't think VR46 is a very good team.
I don't think so either. I think
I'm not. I think they're having a lot of fun.
Hold on, I got to clarify. VR46 is going to be a Yamaha by 2026.
27?
27 is what I meant. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, they might be. That would be fascinating.
No, I'm pretty sure VR46 is going to be Yamaha in 2020. I think their deal with Ducati
I like that
done
prediction.
Right. And so
I don't know if I've heard that officially anywhere yet.
I don't think I've heard it officially.
But I like that prediction.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
I've heard it a couple because Rossi's doing a bunch of things with Yamaha again. And so I'm pretty sure VR46 goes Yamaha by 2027. So does Pecco go to VR46, which I think would be a mistake. I want to see Pecco and Bez on the Aprilias. That's what I hope for.
So I don't think he goes to VR46.
You don't?
I don't think Pecco goes there. I think Frankie's out. I think
for
you're
sure.
right.
Yeah.
I think Frankie's out. I think they are also looking for Moto2 talent to put on that bike.
So what are your feelings on Dija? I'm a big Dija fan. I really like that guy.
I think you keep him. He's an Italian. He's
consistent.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent. He has his head on straight. I think everybody likes him.
He's a good development rider.
I think he keeps his ride.
Yeah.
We'll see how this year goes, but I think he keeps his ride.
Freaking Morbidelli can keep his ride for so freaking long, then Dija should keep his,
Yeah, I agree with that part. I think on that VR46 bike, I think Celestino Vietti has a good chance. He's Italian.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a good chance of getting that seat.
Yeah, I think for VR46, you have to lean in on any Italian kid getting.
Oh, they're all.
Yeah, against Rossi's team. They've all gone to like Rossi
Yeah.
Ranch. I don't even know if he's still doing his academy anymore. I think he quit doing his academy like a year or two ago.
I think we associate the VR46 team with Rossi, obviously, very closely. But
I don't know why it's called VR46.
But it's not like just because of the association doesn't mean I don't think that team is that good. Like I've never seen a rider show up there and all of a sudden like excel because of the team. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like it just seems like it is a team, but
this is brutal.
I don't think they're elevating the riders.
Managed by Rossi's best buddy. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, and because he's been around bikes forever, he's suddenly,
that doesn't necessarily make you a good team manager.
So anyway, I'm maybe I'm being unfair, I guess, but
I'm going to agree with you because VR46 it gets attention because of the color on the leathers, not necessarily the performance of the riders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that's our Ducatis. Let's move on. Let's go to Aprilia. So on the factory team, Bez is already signed.
Yeah, Bez is their guy.
Yeah.
I think they are so chuffed with Bez. Yeah. Like the whole marriage thing on Instagram.
Yeah.
Go look at the photos. It's hilarious. Someone did a thing where they took a bunch of photos of Rossi and put them next to Bez. They look exactly the same. They have the same nose.
Yeah,
they're doing the same kind of antics.
There's a lot of that Italian humor.
Right, yeah, like the goofy. So I think Bez is safe on Aprilia. He's absolutely earned that seat. I really want to see Pecco on the Aprilia. I really, really do. But I don't think that's where he's going to end up.
I don't think he'll wind up there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think he goes there. So who do you think goes there?
I think they're going to be looking for Moto2 talent as well.
So they've got the Trackhouse team, which...
I don't think... I know you like Raul. I don't like Raul. I don't think Raul has the chops.
For the factory seat? That's fine. Who do
Yeah,
you think
I don't
does?
think he does. I think Moto2 over Raul. If it was me, if I was managing the Aprilia team, I'd be going after Pecco. And if I didn't get Pecco, I'd look at Moto2.
On the factory team or on the Trackhouse team?
On the factory team. I don't think that, like, the Trackhouse team, I don't think Iagora or Raul are ready for the factory team. So if you're going to take a chance on somebody, especially as you're going to the 800s, get somebody who's used to the Pirelli tires, get somebody who's used to the smaller bike, take a chance there. Bez is your anchor.
I'll throw out, I think it's on a 1-year contract, and I think it's Juan Mir.
That's interesting.
Because I think he's out at Honda.
Huh. Okay. I like
so
that.
I think Bez and Mir.
Okay.
Bez is on a 2-year.
I like Mir.
I think Mir's on a 1-year.
Has got the short end of the stick. That poor dude. And I'm a big fan of Mir. I think that guy has so much talent.
Yeah. But I think he gets the Aprilia seat on a 1-year. Small contract. I bet he's not getting paid tons. He's getting paid good, but not tons. Because they're keeping some money.
That's a fun prediction. I like that. I like that idea. That's second to Pecco. I'll take that. Like,
all right.
Pecco's my dream seat for Aprilia. I don't think he's going to get it.
I don't think he's going to go there. I don't think they'll pony up the money that Bez needs. Or that Pecco needs.
Yeah, but come on. Where's Pecco going to go?
We'll get to that. All right. So that's the factory team. Let's just say on the Trackhouse team, do we keep Raul and Iagura?
I think you keep Raul. I don't know if you keep Iagura. I think Iagura should go to Honda. I think Honda wants a Japanese rider. Iagura, I think Honda's improving. Iagura would be fantastic on one of the satellite Hondas.
I think that's entirely possible, just strictly because of Passport.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Iagura could switch.
And for sure. And Iagura, I think, is a super talented rider. We were talking at lunch the other day with my motorcycle crew, the guys who work at all the motorcycle shops. We get together on lunch on Thursdays. And we were all talking about the greatest Japanese. We should do a whole episode on the greatest Japanese racers.
All right.
And we were talking about Haga a lot. I'm a big Haga guy.
Yep.
But Iagura, I think that guy shows some real potential. I'm excited about Iagura.
I was so excited for him at Qatar.
He got injured though. Oh my gosh, he slayed at Qatar.
MotoGP has this great little clip of Iagura. Just look up Iagura at Qatar in 2025. Right? Yeah, 25.
Yeah, 2025. Yeah.
Getting fused on the years here. He looked just elegant on the bike. It was so smooth. He's lean, like the way his body moved across the bike.
I was
like
so impressed with him in that race.
Yeah. Well, just watching him on the bike, I was like, man, I wish I could ride like that for even just like a lap. Like it looks so good. Anyway, I don't think he is in Trackhouse in 27.
I agree.
I think the Aprilia is too good and too competitive. I think they've got more Moto2 talent coming in.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to say there's 5 or 6 Moto2 guys who I think are going to have to move up.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of guys are going to lose their seats.
And again, Peter Baum, who big fan, he was saying that 2026 is going to be really, really hard because if you don't show your potential within the first 3 or 4 races, you're probably out.
Yep.
And so you have to look at who can show their chops in the first, or who is likely. Because come on, like you're throwing a lot of money at this rider.
Yep.
You're buying results, and who can you really trust to deliver results? That's why I don't think Raul Fernandez he performed really well at the end of the year, but that was 3 or 4 years in MotoGP, and then he finally did something.
Yeah.
And it's like, I throw a lot of money at that, or would I take that same money and put it towards a Moto2 rider?
I'm still holding out my judgment of Raul because it looked to me like something kind of clicked at the end of 25 for him.
I hope so.
And if that's true, if he can pull it together, I just can still remember him in Moto3 and Moto2, and he was just unreal how good he was on a bike. And if he can get back to that mindset, he could be really, really fast. So we'll see. But I think he keeps his seat, and I think they bring in another fresh Moto2 guy next to him.
Okay. All right. So Iagora goes someplace else. They bring in a Moto2 guy next to Raul. Okay.
So that's Aprilia. So then let's go to KTM, actually.
KTM's going to be the wild card.
Factory team.
I'm a big fan of Brad, and I don't know.
But can you imagine him keeping his seat next to you?
I can't,
I
unfortunately.
can't. Yeah.
And I really like Brad. Brad seems really intelligent. He seems really thoughtful. He seems like a a hell of a development rider, but I mean, Costa shows up and we never heard from Brad again.
Yeah,
like
I just don't think I just can't picture them investing. He's had 2 bad seasons now.
yeah, in a row.
I can't imagine them being like, oh yeah, that's the guy for sure for the future. Like, it's not. He's not. I like Brad a lot too, but he's not the guy for the future.
I'm surprised. Do you think Maverick's going to keep his seat? Because I don't know.
Well, so who do you think is on the factory KTM in 27?
That's the hardest one probably to pick, because apparently, from what I'm reading, Maverick is coming back looking, again, Peter Baum. I'm going to quote Peter Baum again, because he was at the Sepang test and I like read everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, this is a quote from Peter Baum, that Maverick showed up like he had just discovered Jesus. Like he was like born again. And he was like, and he goes, he was a completely different person. So if Maverick can come back with his training with Jorge Lorenzo and kind of show more consistency and a little bit more mental stability, I think Maverick could keep his seat.
But he's on the second tier.
I thought he was on the factory.
No.
I thought he was on the
Pedro and Brad Binder right now.
Oh.
Maverick is with Bastianini on the Tech 3 team.
Okay, because they look exactly the same looking.
It's easy to mix those up.
Sorry. Yeah. Who's going to... Bastianini's gone for sure. Bastianini is going to be World Superbike. Acosta is going to Ducati. Who do they pick?
It's a big shuffle at KTM.
I don't know.
It's a big shuffle. All right, so here's my pick for the factory team. I think Maverick Vinales gets the nod, and he gets one of the factory seats.
Okay, so I was kind of right thinking about Maverick, because that guy developed like everybody copied his settings and then he did really well. And again, I've said this for years, Maverick is probably one of the best development riders out there.
So I think Maverick gets the seat. I think his teammate is Alex Marquez. I think Alex Marquez deserves a factory seat. He wants a factory contract.
I think
it's KTM.
I like it. I can totally see it. It seems totally plausible. And I would love to see Alex on the KTM.
Yeah.
I would completely love to see him on a KTM.
So then on the second team, potentially Brad Binder gets to keep a seat down there.
I hope so. Okay. Yeah,
So
give Brad. All right.
We'll say we bump Brad down to the Tech 3 team, but I think it's Hogado.
Okay.
On the second seat for Moto2.
That would be a smart choice.
Out. I think he's gone entirely.
I'm surprised. Again, Bastianini and Morbidelli, dude. Come on, guys.
Yeah. So I think they're out.
Go dominate in World Superbike.
So on Yamaha, we've got Martin is already signed for the factory team. Miller, Toprak are out of contract. They only had through 26. And obviously Quattraro's gone, and we have Rins.
I don't think Rins is going to stay. I like Rins a lot, but I think he's also going to go to World Superbike. Boy, I guess I'm losing track of like who doesn't have us. Well, Pecco would be.
I think Pecco is Martin's teammate in 27 at Yamaha.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most likely. And
assuming all the other things we've said are accurate and they're right, then he's got to go
so much
somewhere.
Could change. This was going to be really fun.
This is part of the fun.
This is why I'm getting so confused, because we're thinking basically 2 years ahead.
We're playing musical chairs.
Yeah. 2 years ahead. Yeah. The season hasn't even started, and we're talking about 2027.
So I think Pecco Bagnaia ends up being Martin's teammate at Yamaha.
That'll be interesting because, like, I don't know, like, did they get along? Did they not get along?
I think they get along well enough they could be teammates. They don't have to be buds.
Pecco is such a gentleman. He's so gentlemanly and so considerate, and the man just has a lot of integrity, and I really admire that about Pecco.
So I think it's Martin and Bagnaia on the factory team. Who is on Pramac, the satellite team?
See, and Pramac is probably the more desirable team. Honestly,
you don't want the pressure of the factory team.
Yeah. Well, and Pramac who's the team lead on Pramac. That dude's awesome. It's
a well-run team.
Pramac is like Aprilia. It's very family oriented, good team lead.
Yeah, I think it's pretty well.
Very encouraging.
Toprak is the one that I have no idea what's going to happen with Toprak. But if Bagnaia goes to the factory Yamaha, then I think Miller gets another year.
I hope so. I really want to see Miller.
Because they need a development rider still. That bike isn't even close. It's miles off. And they desperately need someone who knows how V4s are supposed to work. And
Miller's your guy.
Pretty notorious for being a good.
Did you listen to that interview with him? It was impossible. We talked about this.
He's sharp. He knows what's going on.
Oh my
he understands how bike works.
He's so intelligent and like talking. Yeah, swing arm pivot heights and like really getting into the weeds with it. Holy cow, he would be a guy I would want to hire. Yeah, well, have you read some of the things about Top Rack where he's wanting to sit on the motorcycle like he sits on a World Superbike bike, so he's sitting up really high, so the arrow isn't working,
He's
and
tall,
like
for
he's a big guy.
Too big.
Yeah, but so's Rossi's brother, Marini, Luca Marini. He's about the same size, and he's being really insistent, saying like, "Well, I have to be comfortable on the motorcycle before I can like whatever." And you're like, "Bro, totally different animal.
Yeah,
be adaptable." Like again, here I am judging, sitting in my garage.
If Top Rack would only listen to you.
If only like
So he's the one that I think is a total wild card, because if this 1 year at MotoGP goes so horribly wrong, I could see him going back to World Superbike.
I would hate to see
I would hate that.
Because the guy's so talented.
But this happened to his mentor, Kenan Sofuoglu.
Yep.
If you remember, Kenan Sofuoglu was Mr. World Supersport. He could beat anybody on a 600 all day, every day, no matter what. He went to World Superbike for, I think, 2 seasons.
And went right back.
Could never quite get it, went back to World Supersport.
Yeah. And it's like, come on, you race because you want to win. And like, why? Okay, so I'm a big fish in a small pond in World Superbike. Now I go to MotoGP. Now I'm a small fish in a big pond. And I'm old. Like, it's harder to adapt and adjust. And like, he came in at the worst imaginable time. As we're transitioning,
every single thing is stacked as high as it possibly could be against Top Rack right now.
But could you imagine how great of a story it would be if he like overcomes and succeeds? That's a good story.
I love him as a character. He seems so genuinely sweet and like as a human being. I think he's a great human being.
No,
I'd love him to succeed and do well.
I want him to stick around.
If you think of everything that could have happened, it is worst possible situation.
Yeah.
It is the opposite of what Fermin Aldegué has had.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
It's the
That's
absolute
a great
opposite
analogy. Yeah. Aldegué has like everything's been handed to him.
Everything's
He gets
going
the
for him.
best possible situation. And like he gets a fifth and you're like, wow, look at what this rookie can do. And you're like, dude, like
I mean, Quartararo would kill you for a fifth. right?
Like, if Quartararo, that's a great thing. If Quartararo was on that bike, he'd be winning races. And we're like so excited that you got a fifth.
So I think if Top Rack has a good year, a good enough year, he stays on Pramac for 1 more year.
That's what I want to see happen.
I would not be bothered if he switched and went to a Honda or somebody else, but I don't know that that's going to happen.
I don't think he will.
I think they're going to settle all the seats before he even has a chance, really.
Yeah,
So I think basically the Yamaha Pramac looks the same 27 as it did in 26 if Pecco gets the factory seat next to Martin. Because I think Bagnaia is going to want to keep
Pecco,
Miller.
the last bike I want to be on is the Yamaha.
We'll see.
It's the last bike.
We'll see. I don't know.
There's not a bike I would rather, like, Yamaha's not where I want to be. Like, unless they're giving me so much freaking money.
But Martin was one of the first guys to announce contracts on Yamaha.
Yeah, but like we've already established that Martin does not have the best judgment when it comes to a lot of these things.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, they're going to have a lot of cash freed up if Quartararo's gone, right?
Oh my God.
So,
yeah. But still.
So we'll say that's Yamaha. The last thing we have to talk about is Honda.
Luca Marini keeps his seat on the factory Honda.
So we got Quartararo's already moving over there.
Yeah, so those two are going to be on the factory Hondas.
Okay.
I think Luca Marini, everything I've read about him, he's the guy I want. He's the guy I want as my development rider. Quartararo on the Honda, solid choice. I think Honda is going to be a force to reckon with, and I think Honda might be embarrassing Aprilia next year, and that breaks my heart to say because I'm an Aprilia guy. But I think Honda's going to be pretty powerful the next couple of years.
I am very curious to see. I'll disagree slightly here. Quartararo is obviously going to have a seat at Honda. Depending on how this season goes, I think Diogo Moreira moves up to the factory team. And I think Marini moves down.
I don't know.
Because I think
it depends on again, it's going to depend, I think, a lot on how he rides this year.
In terms of racers, I think Diogo is a more of a racer than Marini is.
I would agree. But my theory is, this is my whole, every great team has a great racer and a great developer.
Well, but if you put him down to the second team, you still have him.
Yeah, but you want him on the factory bike. You want him on the same.
But there's
equipment.
The gap between the factory team and the satellite team is almost zero.
It's getting closer and closer.
They're practically on the same bikes, and especially.
Yeah, but you want to keep a guy with that skill set happy on the factory team.
Maybe
Okay.
we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
But if you've got I guess my thought is the first year of the 850s. What are you going to give them, a 26 version of the 850? No,
I guess everybody's going to be.
Everyone's on the
equipment.
latest thing.
Great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because there is no.
there is no last year's
That's gonna
bike.
be, man, again, we're just like talking about 2027.
Yep.
2027 is going to be so much freaking fun.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be on the same equipment.
So the last thing is the satellite Hondas.
These are the, like, Iagora is going to get one of them, I hope.
It would make sense if Idemitsu wanted to come back and sponsor.
I would love to
if
see.
Iagora
Yeah, we
came
talked
back.
about, we made the joke last time about that. And I was like, I hope so. That would be great.
I think Zarco is out.
Unfortunately, as much as I love Zarco and the backflips, I love that dude.
Yeah.
That dude is so solid.
But I think Zarco's out, and I think it's a Moto 2 rider.
And but if I was Honda, like, Zarco is one of the older riders right now. It's too much to ask for him to come back and learn an 800 and a new tire. And the guy's gifted. Either give him a job as a development rider, or
I don't think he wants it. He's too emotional, I think. I don't think, he's a racer.
he's a racer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would be. World Superbike might be really awesome with all this talent trickling down into MotoGP or World Superbike.
I love that World Superbike is like the Masters of
Yes.
MotoGP.
It's going to be interesting. Like with Liberty Media, is World Superbike going to be able to maintain? It's going to be really hard because, look, World Superbike is getting Michelin tires.
Mm-hmm.
MotoGP is getting Pirelli tires. Are the lap times going to be the same?
They're gonna have to knock down.
They're going to have to do something.
It's a World Superbike.
Here's a theory for you. Should World Superbike, because World Superbike has always been homologated, what are people actually riding? Here's what I want to see happen. I want to see World Superbike turn into naked bikes. I want to see them on Tuonos and Hornets and MT-09s.
I don't think anyone's gonna watch. I think it's a bridge too far.
No,
Yeah.
but like it's the motorcycles that people are actually riding. People are actually riding naked bikes. Nobody's riding super bikes anymore. Make World Superbike the bikes that people are actually riding.
But if we're gonna make it a farce, why not put them all on GSs? Because that's what people buy.
No, that's a different class. That's a different.
I don't think we're going to see.
No,
nakeds.
but we tried that with the Replica Cup. It was the best racing I remember of my life. Was the Replica Cup when everyone was on BMW S1000Rs, and watching those dudes bang engine cases and drag engine cases around the ground was fantastic.
Not S1000s.
Oh,
RS
R1000. What were they? The S1000R.
The air cooled.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They were Rs, not.
Yep, not S1000s. Yeah.
R1000S.
Yeah.
BMW.
Come on, buddy, help us out. These names,
Right?
But
you know what I meant.
But I think they're going to have to. I don't think they're going to get away from the super sports. I don't believe that'll happen because that just
But
looks
it's going to be
racy.
like the lap times are going to be too close. We have
Well,
shorter
I think
lap-
they're going to
yeah.
knock down the performance. I think they're going to lose a lot of the electronics that they have right now.
Because one could argue. Well, actually, I don't think it's an argument. I think it's a statement. They have better electronics than MotoGP.
They have way more latitude with them, for sure.
Yeah,
For
and
sure. They do.
arguably better tires.
Yeah.
Shorter races.
Yep.
And so.
So I think now they've introduced a fuel flow limit. In
Oh,
World
that's
Superbike.
interesting. I wasn't aware of this.
But it may just turn into a fuel capacity at some point. But regardless, they are doing some things to try to like slow them down a little. But I think ultimately they just need to pull back on the electronics and just not let them be as fast. Like if it was World Super stock, basically,
Yes. Okay.
done.
That would be just as happy.
And
if
I
that was
tune
the
in,
naked bikes. Yeah.
Because
Super
now
stock
that
would be
bike
great.
costs a third as much as the current
and
World Superbike
it's a
does.
bike I can buy.
Yeah,
Right.
Stock frame, stock swing arm. Let them do what they want with suspension, minimum electronics, minimum engine. Off they go, and do a little bit of balance of power.
If we go back to World Super Stock, do we end up with? You probably remember this: the YZ 750s, YZF 750Rs in the late '90s. They made there were like 100 of them that would be sold.
Well, so
And I remember walking into I can't remember, was it Perry Brothers? Not Perry Brothers. Whatever. There was a Yamaha dealership in Ogden, Utah. I walked in and they had one on a little plinth inside the dealership for 2 years because nobody could buy it. And it was basically, it was like an OW01 Yamaha. It was the YZF 750R, aluminum frame. That was a big deal back then. Everything was steel frames back then. And it just sat there and you would just drool over it because it was effectively a World Superbike bike. Again, middleweights. They were 750s.
But that's
back to the beginning.
That's roughly what those homologations are now. Like, have you ever seen a V4R?
No.
I think I've seen it once.
Like, because I had access to the back room is when I saw one. Yeah, I've never seen one like rolling on the road.
So they're already making homologation specials is the point. Like,
but the only person really making true superbikes is Ducati.
I think that M1000 from BMW is pretty special too.
Okay.
But
okay,
I guess my point is they'd still have to do some balance of power stuff, right? They'd have to give some latitude to the R1s or whatever that is, lower on performance. But if you just said, hey, the target is no longer here, the target is now here, and we're all going to sit here now on performance, I think that's what's ultimately going to have to happen.
I agree. It has to happen because it can't stay. You're the owner of both of these series. You can't have one doing the same lap times as the other.
And they look practically identical. Well, I hope you guys had fun. We had a ton of fun in this conversation.
And if you didn't have fun, MotoGP is going to start soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little more.
3 weeks away. We have some exciting interviews that we're trying to put together. It's more complicated than I really realized getting some of these interviews together. So please stick around. Some of these could be like world-changing interviews.
Ooh.
That could really change your entire perspective of the whole motorcycle world if some of them work out. I don't want to say any names because we were talking earlier today.
We'll wait and confirm.
I'm so excited about.
We'll wait and confirm. But some of these will be pretty fun. So stick around. And then again, in the comments, I want to hear, what bike are you on? What bike would you replace it with if you had to? I think some of this stuff is just a fun topic to discuss with everyone.
Yep. And last week we launched Patreon. A bunch of you went and signed up. Thank you so much. The conversations over there have already been really good. I've been trying to share more cool stuff. I had to create a whole new graphic explaining rake and trail, and I put that graphic over there. And I did a whole big deep dive that was more in depth than any newsletter I've ever written about rake and trail and the inverse relationship between triple clamp offset. So if you really want to get nerdy, Patreon, we're having a lot of fun over in Patreon. So we have 3 tiers now. I added another tier. So from $3 to $15, you can really help out what we're doing over here. So yeah, go check us out on Patreon.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll see you next week.